Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to R Squared Technology. I'm your host Ryan, and let's get ready to SolidWorks! Today's Monday object challenge video comes from a user straight up who comments, "Why not make a motorcycle truck bed?" So to that I'm thinking, okay, well, truck bed, trailer, they're kind of going to be synonymous in this case. And I accept that challenge. And for this challenge, I'm going to make this a multi-part assembly, and in the last video, I'm going to assemble it all together. So with that, we're going to start with part of the framework today. So let's jump in. So I really like to reference Bob Ross paintings. Nothing in specific other than he's an awesome painter, and he kind of did a little bit of a tutorial on how he made the paintings. So here's my blank canvas, and on my paint palette I'm going to use some weldments to get going. And I'm also going to reference the awesome classic toy, the Etch-a-Sketch, where you can arguably make the illusion of 3D dimension sketches, but it's really 2D plane. You're always drawing on that single face. So this is going to be a 3D Etch-a-Sketch to start. So up here I'm going to choose this 3D sketch, and then I'm going to start with a midpoint line. Now what's cool about a 3D sketch, and also technically confusing about a 3D sketch, is you're not on any given plane right now. However, you do have some references. So the origin has these two red arrow lines here to indicate what axis you're about. So using the gizmo down here, and also super critical to navigation is below my number 2 pencil we have XY. So if we look down at the gizmo down here, you will see X and Y. So when I draw a line, it's going to be about the X and Y axis. Now if I hit tab, I can then choose the YZ axis, and you'll notice these lines change accordingly as well. And then finally there is the ZX axis. And so with that, you can kind of view it this way. The XY is kind of basically drawing a line on the front plane, YZ is the right plane, and then ZX is if you were drawing on the top plane. So for what I'm going to do on this framework here, I'm going to start with a midpoint line, and I'm going to create the back reference line. You're going to see how this works when it comes to weldments. It almost shares a slightly similar characteristic to doing a sweep from a reference sketch, but it's not quite the same. It's a little bit more complex and pretty cool what it can do, because it actually creates realistic cut sheets from it. So, enough talk, let's get to it. I'm going to choose the origin as the center point of my midpoint line here. I'm going to drag out in the ZX choice. And then we can keep this on that, quote, top draw view for this particular situation. I'm going to, will that work? Actually, we're going to switch over to an XY for this value here. Then toggle it to a YZ. How about ZX? And XY again, connecting it. And then I'm going to stop here. And some things I'm going to do. Now I can actually bring it to the top view for this. Looks all wonky. It's all well and good. We're going to say that this thing is 60 inches, 5 feet wide. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make these lines perpendicular. We want a box. And we'll do, actually let's make this 60-inch length, and we'll do it at 48-inch width for now. Again, this is being pulled with a motorcycle, so maybe we don't make it a full-blown truck bed per se. And you know what, let's tune it down just a little bit more. 36, 48. Not 498. Alright, there we go. Can't get too big, because, I mean, I guess unless you had like a Harley or a Dodge Tomahawk, this is going to be quite cumbersome to the engine after a while, depending on what your payload is. Obviously, motorcycles can carry passengers, and I've seen Harley trailers, but, you know, again, what the maximum weight capacity of a motorcycle is going to vary, right? So we'll start with this, and then what we can do here, we'll go back into our line command, and I'm on ZX, which that will work. We're going to make a line here. We're going to draw that out here, select, grab another line, and let's do it like this. Gives me a square end. And we'll go and do the same thing. Actually, as a matter of fact, from the front plane, and mirror this and this. Again, this can be a little bit tricky to remember what you're doing, because even though I'm on the top view and this could arguably be a top sketch, it's not. It exists in three-dimensional space. So mirroring things can be a little bit tricky. And we will actually do this off of an angular drive here. So I'm going to say 35 degrees. And look what it's done here. That's okay then. Let's go 55. Let's kind of revert it. And oh, I don't think I wanted the, yeah, 2 feet. Oh, that's 6 feet total. Yeah, we'll go with that for now. And we'll give this 4.5. Alright. So we've got part of our Etch-a-Sketch done here. Now I'm going to go back into an isometric view so we can kind of see better what's about to happen here. Go back to a line, and I want to choose X, Y, or YZ. Either one will work for what I'm going to do here. And XY, we can keep that, maintain that. YZ for this part, going over here. XY for this. YZ for that. XY. XY. Now what I'm going to do is go to a front plane view for this. I want to make sure that this line and this line are perpendicular. Then I'm also going to come here and make sure those are perpendicular. Here and here is perpendicular. Perpendicular. And then I want this also to be perpendicular. So we need to make sure that at least this line and this line to this line are perpendicular. So we want, when we're on the front view here, we want this to be at a 90 degree here on all 4 corners. So technically if you go to the back side, right, same thing should apply. All these upward lines, vertical lines should be at a 90 degree. bring this back isometric for a moment. Then what we're going to do, so let's see, I also want to make this perpendicular this way. There we go. Now we're savvy. Forgot to mention the right side plane. We want it 90 all different directions. So we'll confirm that this and this are also perpendicular. Great, so these are all defined. This one here is likely not perpendicular in one direction, because if it is, then let's rotate, bring it in. Okay, it's perpendicular. So then our last thing is the height. So this is kind of the fencing for the trailer. How about 18-inch? Looks pretty tall. Let's do 14. We'll stick with that for now. Now, to make the magic happen. So we're going to close out of our 3D sketch here and begin structural member. I'm going to choose ANSI inch. I want square tubing. And we'll do 2 by 25. And we'll begin a grouping. So my first group is going to be this bottom main frame here. Then I'm going to create a second group that is going to have this one here. And actually, before we get too crazy, let me go in and fix my sketch here. I forgot a cross member. So that I'm going to do on YZ will work. Alright, perfect. Now we can go back to doing the structural member. First group is going to be this bottom. New group. Second group is going to be this cross member here. New group. And you'll see in a moment why I'm choosing the groups. You can already tell here it's cutting the square tubing accordingly. So this will be my next grouping here. Beautiful. New group. I want to do this. And then I'm going to do a new group. Then I want to do all these uprights. Looking good. Do a new group. And then I'm going to come up here and grab these. Let's see what adjustments are made. Let's actually do this. We're going to delete group 6 here. We're going to undo group 5. So group 4, new group. We'll take the new group to be this one up here first. The reason I'm going to do this is so it'll create these angles here. Do a new group, then we'll do our uprights here. Boom. And I'm going to hide my 3D sketch for a moment because it starts to get busy. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'd say that we're looking like a trailer frame now, eh? It's a small one. Again, we're trying to pull this with a motorcycle, so I'm trying to be semi-realistic. The frame alone and weight might already be too much if this is steel tubing, but hey, you know, maybe your V-twin Harley can yank this thing around like nobody's business. So, that is going to be it for this video. We have quite a bit more parts to go here, We're obviously going to be doing some axle holders, some wheels, axle, and the connection point up here. Oh, that's going to be most clever to be able to adapt to a motorcycle's swing arm. So stay tuned for the remainder of this series where I will model out this motorcycle truck bed / trailer. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Take care.